What's up, everybody, and welcome back to All Sports Media TV. I am your host, KJ the Great. But first things first, I want to say, I hope and pray everything is great your way. Now, let's talk about it. See, yesterday I dropped a video talking about Shakur Stevenson going into training camp, and his potential opponent was Joe Cordina. Coming to find out today that that is the case, guaranteed. Y'all know how I do, man. I stay locked in. But the one thing that is interesting about this fight is that it has been set as the co-feature to one of the biggest fights in all of boxing today, and that is the undisputed showdown between ARTUR and DEMITRI BIVOL. Two undefeated light heavyweights gonna do battle. Riyadh season, Saudi Arabia. Shakur Stevenson versus Joe Cordina. And the undercard, man, I just looked at it. It is stacked. We've got Scott Nicholson making her return. Ben Whitaker, the flashy, the flair guy. We've got Ja Apataya, #1 cruiserweight in the world right now. Chris Eubanks Jr. It's a stacked card, and I can't wait to see it. As far as all of this is going to take place on October 12th. I did tell you guys that it was speculated that Shakur Stevenson signed the multi-fight deal to get the fight with Joe Cordina, and then his WBC mandatory, William Zepeda in February. As I said before, I thought that would be an exciting fight. I thought it'd be a great fight for February as well, seeing as how, I spoke on, how Mexican fighters, they typically fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend. They fight on Mexican Independence weekend. So I thought, no problem. Let's get some black fighters to fight on or during Black History Month or around Juneteenth. Just kind of get those dates locked in. Come on, black fighters. Let's do it. I think we can do it. But that's neither here nor there, man. What do you guys think about this card? It's stacked from top to bottom. I know everybody is anticipating the showdown with Dimitri Bivol and ARTUR BETERBIEV, man. ARTUR BETERBIEV, 100% knockout ratio. Bivol got his first stoppage, and I believe it was 4 or 5 years in his last fight. And, you pretty much got the highly skilled guy, throws a lot of jabs, works distance really well. And then you got ARTUR BETERBIEV, who is just a beast, man. He mauls you to death. He puts those punches together. He's so strong, but he is up in age, though. So, I did think that in his last fight, age may play a factor. But I also picked him to win, though, simply because of his strength, simply because of how he sets traps for his opponents. He had a good fight with Anthony Yarde. Anthony Yarde did lay some leather on him, no problem. But Anthony Yarde just gassed out and couldn't make it. So definitely it's one of the fights that I believe is going to be potentially fight of the year. I do think that this card is going to rival the card that we just seen with Terrence Crawford and Israel Madrimov heading in the main event of that card. That was a stacked card from top to bottom. Andy Ruiz, Andy Cruz, David Morrell. I mean, it was fights everywhere on that card. It was stacked over in LA. I think this card is going to rival that one, and I think this card it's late here. I think this fight card might actually top that one. The big deal on this card, though, for me is Scott Nicholson fighting on this card, gaining so much exposure. And it's a big deal for women's boxing. Protect women's sports, I'll say that. But I know on this level, I think this is going to be a massive, massive pay-per-view. I think they're going to do big numbers with this pay-per-view. The only problem is, you know, you do have the Shakur casual haters who knock on Shakur. And for the casual sake, I'll say it's much deserved and much reason. But at the same time, understanding boxing and beautiful boxing, hit and not get hit, that's a different thing. That's more so for us diehard fans. Now, in my opinion, Shakur Stevenson should have put on a better performance when he fought Artem Harutyunyan, based upon his performance with Edwin De Los Santos. I thought he should have came out and possibly tried to step on the gas, but what can you do when you got an opponent who don't want to engage? Well, you cut the ring off, you set the traps, you kind of force him into positions where he's not comfortable to do things that makes him uncomfortable. Excuse me. So where he will make a mistake and you make him miss, make him pay, and capitalize on all of it. But needless to say, he didn't do that. That was his last fight with top-ranked ESPN. They kind of, I'll admit it, like I said the last time, they did him dirty, showing the crowd booing, showing the crowd leaving. So in this fight, I think, you know, there's nothing skill-wise he has to prove, but there's definitely a lot to show, if that makes sense. He doesn't have nothing to prove. He's 3-division world champion, Olympic silver medalist, but he has. There's a lot that he can show. Show that he can close the show. Show that he's definitely ready for the Lomachenkos and Gervonta Tank Davises, the Devin Haney's, Ryan Garcia's, Teofimo Lopez's, all of those type of guys. So let me know what you guys think about this card. Man, I told you guys this was going to be explosive. Thank you guys for tuning in. If this is your first time, I appreciate you. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button. Thank you guys. Peace.